How long has David been talking to his friends? He talked to them for 1 second. He talked to them for 2 seconds. He talked to them for 3 seconds. He talked to them for 4 seconds. He talked to them for 5 seconds. He talked to them for 6 seconds. He talked to them for 7 seconds. He talked to them for 8 seconds. He talked to them for 9 seconds. He talked to them for 10 seconds. He talked to them for 11 seconds. He talked to them for 12 seconds. He talked to them for 13 seconds. He talked to them for 14 seconds. He talked to them for 15 seconds. He talked to them for 16 seconds. He talked to them for 17 seconds. He talked to them for 18 seconds. He talked to them for 19 seconds. He talked to them for 20 seconds. He talked to them for 21 seconds. He talked to them for 22 seconds. He talked to them for 23 seconds. He talked to them for 24 seconds. He talked to them for 25 seconds. He talked to them for 26 seconds. He talked to them for 27 seconds. He talked to them for 28 seconds. He talked to them for 29 seconds. He talked to them for 30 seconds. He talked to them for 31 seconds. He talked to them for 32 seconds. He talked to them for 33 seconds. He talked to them for 34 seconds. He talked to them for 35 seconds. He talked to them for 36 seconds. He talked to them for 37 seconds. He talked to them for 38 seconds. He talked to them for 39 seconds. He talked to them for 40 seconds. He talked to them for 41 seconds. He talked to them for 42 seconds. He talked to them for 43 seconds. He talked to them for 44 seconds. He talked to them for 45 seconds. He talked to them for 46 seconds. He talked to them for 47 seconds. He talked to them for 48 seconds. He talked to them for 49 seconds. He talked to them for 50 seconds. He talked to them for 51 seconds. He talked to them for 52 seconds. He talked to them for 53 seconds. He talked to them for 54 seconds. He talked to them for 55 seconds. He talked to them for 56 seconds. He talked to them for 57 seconds. He talked to them for 58 seconds. He talked to them for 59 seconds. He talked to them for 1 minute. He talked to them for 2 minutes. He talked to them for 3 minutes. He talked to them for 4 minutes. He talked to them for 5 minutes. He talked to them for 6 minutes. He talked to them for 7 minutes. He talked to them for 8 minutes. He talked to them for 9 minutes. He talked to them for 10 minutes. He talked to them for 11 minutes. He talked to them for 12 minutes. He talked to them for 13 minutes. He talked to them for 14 minutes. He talked to them for 15 minutes. He talked to them for 16 minutes. He talked to them for 17 minutes. He talked to them for 18 minutes. He talked to them for 19 minutes. He talked to them for 20 minutes. He talked to them for 21 minutes. He talked to them for 22 minutes. He talked to them for 23 minutes. He talked to them for 24 minutes. He talked to them for 25 minutes. He talked to them for 26 minutes. He talked to them for 27 minutes. He talked to them for 28 minutes. He talked to them for 29 minutes. He talked to them for 30 minutes. He talked to them for 31 minutes. He talked to them for 32 minutes. He talked to them for 33 minutes. He talked to them for 34 minutes. He talked to them for 35 minutes. He talked to them for 36 minutes. He talked to them for 37 minutes. He talked to them for 38 minutes. He talked to them for 39 minutes. He talked to them for 40 minutes. He talked to them for 41 minutes. He talked to them for 42 minutes. He talked to them for 43 minutes. He talked to them for 44 minutes. He talked to them for 45 minutes. He talked to them for 46 minutes. He talked to them for 47 minutes. He talked to them for 48 minutes. He talked to them for 49 minutes. He talked to them for 50 minutes. He talked to them for 51 minutes. He talked to them for 52 minutes. He talked to them for 53 minutes. He talked to them for 54 minutes. He talked to them for 55 minutes. He talked to them for 56 minutes. He talked to them for 57 minutes. He talked to them for 58 minutes. He talked to them for 59 minutes. He talked to them for 1 hour. He talked to them for 2 hours. He talked to them for 3 hours. He talked to them for 4 hours. He talked to them for 5 hours. He talked to them for 6 hours. He talked to them for 7 hours. He talked to them for 8 hours. He talked to them for 9 hours. He talked to them for 10 hours. He talked to them for 11 hours. He talked to them for 12 hours. He talked to them for 13 hours. He talked to them for 14 hours. He talked to them for 15 hours. He talked to them for 16 hours. He talked to them for 17 hours. He talked to them for 18 hours. He talked to them for 19 hours. He talked to them for 20 hours. He talked to them for 21 hours. He talked to them for 22 hours. He talked to them for 23 hours. He talked to them for 1 day. He talked to them for 2 days. He talked to them for 3 days. He talked to them for 4 days. He talked to them for 5 days. He talked to them for 6 days. He talked to them for 1 week. He talked to them for 2 weeks. He talked to them for 3 weeks. He talked to them for 1 month. He talked to them for 2 months. He talked to them for 3 months. He talked to them for 4 months. He talked to them for 5 months. He talked to them for 6 months. He talked to them for 7 months. He talked to them for 8 months. He talked to them for 9 months. He talked to them for 10 months. He talked to them for 11 months.
He talked to them for a year. He talked to them for 2 years. He talked to them for 3 years. He talked to them for 4 years. He talked to them for 5 years. He talked to them for 6 years. He talked to them for 7 years. He talked to them for 8 years. He talked to them for 9 years. He talked to them for 10 years. He talked to them for 50 years. He talked to them for 20 years. He talked to them for 25 years. He talked to them for 30 years. He talked to them for 35 years. He talked to them for 40 years. He talked to them for 45 years. He talked to them for 50 years. He talked to them for 55 years. He talked to them for 60 years. He talked to them for 65 years. He talked to them for 70 years. He talked to them for 75 years. He talked to them for 80 years. He talked to them for 85 years. He talked to them for 90 years. He talked to them for 95 years. He talked to them for 100 years. He talked to them for 150 years. He talked to them for 200 years. He talked to them for 250 years. He talked to them for 300 years. He talked to them for 350 years. He talked to them for 400 years. He talked to them for 450 years. He talked to them for 500 years. He talked to them for 550 years. He talked to them for 600 years. He talked to them for 650 years. He talked to them for 700 years. He talked to them for 750 years. He talked to them for 800 years. He talked to them for 850 years. He talked to them for 100 years. He talked to them for 150 years. He talked to them for 1,000 years. He talked to them for 1,500 years. He talked to them for 2,000 years. He talked to them for 2,500 years. He talked to them for 3,000 years. He talked to them for 3,500 years. He talked to them for 4,000 years. He talked to them for 4,500 years. He talked to them for 5,000 years. He talked to them for 5,500 years. He talked to them for 6,000 years. He talked to them for 6,500 years. He talked to them for 7,000 years. He talked to them for 7,500 years. He talked to them for 8,000 years. He talked to them for 8,500 years. He talked to them for 9,000 years. He talked to them for 9,500 years. He talked to them for 10,000 years. He talked to them for 15,000 years. He talked to them for 20,000 years. He talked to them for 25,000 years. He talked to them for 30,000 years. He talked to them for 35,000 years. He talked to them for 40,000 years. He talked to them for 45,000 years. He talked to them for 50,000 years. He talked to them for 55,000 years. He talked to them for 60,000 years. He talked to them for 65,000 years. He talked to them for 70,000 years. He talked to them for 75,000 years. He talked to them for 80,000 years. He talked to them for 85,000 years. He talked to them for 90,000 years. He talked to them for 95,000 years. He talked to them for 100,000 years. He talked to them for 150,000 years. He talked to them for 200,000 years. He talked to them for 250,000 years. He talked to them for 300,000 years. He talked to them for 350,000 years. He talked to them for 400,000 years. He He talks to them for 450,000 years. He talks to them for 500,000 years. He talks to them for 550,000 years. He talks to them for 600,000 years. He talks to them for 650,000 years. He talks to them for 700,000 years. He talks to them for 750,000 years. He talks to them for 800,000 years. He talks to them for 850,000 years. He talks to them for 1,000 years. He talks to them for 150,000 years. He talks to them for 1 million years. He talks to them for 5 million years. He talks to them for 10 million years. He talks to them for 50 million years. He talks to them for 100 million years. He talks to them for 500 million years. He talks to them for 1 billion years. He talks to them for 5 billion years. He talks to them for 10 billion years. He talks to them for 50 billion years. He talks to them for 100 billion years. He talks to them for 500 billion years. He talks to them for 1 trillion years. He talks to them for 5 trillion years. He talks to them for 10 trillion years. He talks to them for 50 trillion years. He talks to them for 100 trillion years. He talks to them for 500 trillion years. He talks to them for 1 quadrillion years. He talks to them for 5 quadrillion years. He talks to them for 10 quadrillion years. He talks to them for 50 quadrillion years. He talks to them for 100 quadrillion years. He talks to them for 500 quadrillion years. He talks to them for 1 quadrillion years. He talks to them for 6 trillion years. He talks to them for 7 trillion years. He talks to them for 9 trillion years. He talks to them for 9 billion years. He talks to them for 8 trillion years.